Well, hello all, and Happy New Year. It's January 1, 2019. I've had a pretty good year, and just want to take this opportunity to thank everybody who supports my channel and watches my videos, and those who comment and interact with me. I appreciate it very much. And hopefully we'll have a few more things going on this year. I haven't had much to do in the way of maintenance videos, which on my channel seems to get the most attention. I do the music mostly for myself and people that I know, and if others appreciate it, that's always a good thing as well. This is my 12-string Takamine that I acquired in 2013. I took it out of the box because I'm working on a song, Love of My Life by Queen, and I've got it all tabbed out. And then I thought, Brian May plays this on a 12-string. Maybe I could do my instrumental on a 12-string. I've never done that before. So I took this out, and it's in atrocious shape. The action is way too high. It's like 7 and 8. And the strings, of course, are garbage. They've been on there, I believe, since 2013. So what I'm going to do is end up lowering the saddles to get the action down. Do a complete fret job cleanup. The frets are a little grungy. And put some lemon oil on my fretboard, and then I'll see where we go after that. So I guess the first thing to do will be to unwind these strings, loosen them up a bit, and see if I can get the bridge saddles out, and check to see if there's a shim underneath there that can be removed, lower it down, and see what I can get. I'm going to leave these strings on for purposes of figuring out the right height. But I have a new set that's going to go on. Once I get those saddles figured out. So I'm going to undo all of these things and try to get access to those saddles, and then I'll get back on camera and let you know what's happening at that point. I just wanted to get a close-up of what this looks like once I got this piece of saddle out, and it's stuck inside the piezo pickup, and it looks like once I'm able to disconnect that, I'm gonna need to probably sand that down and shorten the height of that saddle to get the action down. It's quite stuck, and I'm going to need to fiddle with it a bit and see if I can get those things apart. And the little wire there is just short, so I don't have a lot of room to play with. So I'm just going to work on this and see what I can do. Thinking the other one might be like that too. Could be a little bit more of a challenge and a little bit more off camera time. But I'll let you know. Well, I got it out, and that's what the bottom kind of looks like. And it's sitting on the pickup. It's inside of there. So a little bit more analysis and I'll see. I found this odd looking little thing underneath the piezo. Camera's not picking this up very well, but there's will it focus? No, it's not going to focus. It looks like it's hopefully the thickness, it would need to come down, maybe just a little bit too much. But inside this, it's a plastic thing. These little bits that can stick up like that. They're movable. Not sure why they're like that. I think the copper piezo, because it's copper on the top and it's copper on the bottom. Okay, you can barely see that there now. And the piezo sits on that. And the plastic in the middle, it's not copper all the way through. I think it helps transmit the sound of the pickup. Not really sure. But this is definitely something I'm going to have to try and see if I can put that back in. I've found that every time I do something, take something apart, it never goes as easily as one would expect it should. Either coming apart or sometimes putting it back together. It looks like it's down. I'm not sure it's in exactly the same place as it was, but could be. Getting it underneath these strings is also not the easiest thing to do because the other bridge piece is in the way. And let's see if we can get it up and over without too much ado. Back in the hole. Okay. I bought this guitar because I really liked the sound of 12-string guitars, and then I realized I wanted it, but I really didn't have a big use for it when I had it. I thought, well, someday I'm going to get around to using it, and then my whole guitaring learning took a turn after, I learned chords and rhythms and the cage system and the like. And then I saw some fellas on YouTube that were doing instrumentals of music, and I thought, that's maybe something I'd like to do. And that's the direction I went in. It's definitely lower. Might be too lower. Alright, let me see if I can get some tuning. And see. It's not even registering yet. Why it's not registering? Alright, I'll have to figure that out. I'll be back. The trials and tribulations continue. It wasn't the battery. It was actually the fact that this bottom part of the saddle has to sit on this so that the sound coming into the saddle is translated into this tiny little copper transducer device, which is very hard to see at that distance. And when I put this in without that piece, that part down there was sitting away from here where it was picking up the sound, and it wasn't getting anything, where I touched the other one on my amp and it worked perfectly well. The day is saved. I was looking at this again and I found that along the saddle there's a crease where the pickup sits in, and you actually can't make that sit in there any deeper. And then I was looking at it with my light, and then it caught my eye that there were 5 pieces of shim underneath there, 4 which looks like some kind of a hard plastic phenolic type device, and an extra piece of cardboard that had been shoved up underneath there as well. So stacked up, that sits them quite high. So now it's a matter of finding what combination of the thick and the thinners do I need to bring it down to the saddle height that I was looking for, which makes more sense to me. And that'll just be some fiddling, in and out, in and out, in and out, and winding up and winding down, and I'll spare you all that and just let you know what it turned out to be. So to start off with, I wanted to find out like what was the height of all the shims in there. Now for doing these kinds of things I like to work in millimeters because it's just easier numbers to play with. So this is 0.112 with the cardboard all together. So 0.112 is the number to start with, and then I'll start slipping some shims in there and see what it'll be. So 1 thick and 1 thin. I'm pretty sure the thick one's probably going to have to go on the bottom, and it's going to end up being the thin ones that I'm going to have to use to 060, a thick and a thin. So I'm going to start with that and start playing with them, and then I'll let you know which combination was the best. Okay, so I got the small side in. Turns out I had to put back in all the shims except for the small piece of cardboard, and that's got me at I guess between 4 and 5/64, and it feels pretty good between 4 and 5 for the B's and the E's. So I found on this side there's 1 thick, that same piece of sort of paper cardboard that was in the other one, and little plastic things about this thick. Now these 3 were under, and this one was shoved to the side of the saddle. I don't know if that was a mistake that they had, or whether it was needed to stop the saddle from moving. I'll see. But I think what I'm going to do to start with this one, this is starts at 071. I'm going to take, it's quite thick, I should say sticky. I'm going to take the cardboard part out. And see what that gets us to. .061. So that takes it down 10 thou. I'm going to try it with that and see how that works out. It's a little more difficult getting all the strings up on this side to get this piece out, this piezo out, pulling on them. This is a string through bridge, so it's not like I can pop the strings easily on this one. So I'm just going to stick those in there. And of course they would want to fall sideways. It's called Murphy's Law. It's called Murphy's Law. Alright, I think that's it. The piezo wire goes down on this side. Sometimes it's nice to really have a third hand for this kind of stuff. But it would look kind of weird compared to everybody else. So now this goes back in. This way, I believe. So this one came out. This one came out. You see, sometimes you want fingers different lengths as well. Go in there. I don't think it did. Yeah, this time the saddle slipped out of the piezo. It still looks pretty high. Something's probably not sitting right down there. Yeah, okay, so it rocks back and forth. So I think that other piece was put to the side because they needed it to sit a little bit more. Yeah. See, the other one side doesn't rock, but I think it's because they wanted to stop it from rocking. Anyway, more fiddling. See what we get to with it. See what works. Okay, so here's the scoop. I forgot earlier when I was doing the E and the B strings that tension on the neck and relief in the neck is important to be set before playing with this. And once I started over here, I remembered because when I loosened the strings here, well, it changed the height of the strings there. So I decided that I was going to have to recheck it. So turns out I ended up with taking out one more shim here, because when I had full tension on the neck it bowed a little more. So this went down to 20 millimeter shim, and this ended up being, out of the 80 I took out, 40 millimeter shim. So the bottom side are, it's between 4 and 5, I should say the high side, 4 and 5, and on the G to the E, low E, they are at 5. And that's about the best I'm going to get it. I guess I'm going to end up playing with a little bit of neck relief. Once you get all the strings back on these beasts and tune them up, it takes a while for the tension and everything to settle, and you have to do little touch-ups on tuning again, and until it finally becomes close to playable. So that's what will happen coming up next. I just wanted to show the flamed maple back matched beautifully and the sides all around. It's just focus. Just beautiful flamed maple, and it has a spruce top. It's EG 523SC12, and there's a serial number on the front. Made in Korea. For the price, these things are quite nice guitars. So when I got this in 2013, I had no idea about how to dress frets or do any other work on the guitar, so I put new strings on it when I got it, but that's about it. This is the first time it's been dressed like this, and I'm going to get a fresh set of strings on it now. So the bridge and saddles are set to go. Next is string it up, tune it up, let it sit, and check all the adjustments again, and then see if I'm actually able to use it to work on my next instrumental. If the instrumental doesn't come out with this guitar in it, it'll be the black Takamine instead. Well, it's been a long day of working on this baby, but it's strung. The shims underneath the lower strings could possibly come down a tiny bit more. These are sitting at 6, where the high strings are sitting at 5, although they're not terrible. But another millimeter down would be just great, and I'm not sure exactly how to get that, because every combination of shims that I have is either 20, which is probably going to be too low, or they're all 40s. I might have to try 20 at some point. Anyway, I've decided to tune it down half a step and use the capo, which I've never done on this guitar since I have it. So I'm going to give that a shot, see how it works. Well, I guess we'll give it a little test with the love of my life and see how it goes. I guess it's going to work. I just have to work on the sound. Thanks for watching this little maintenance.